Hello, welcome to my 2021 NaNoWriMo Week 3 vlog. Week 2 is currently uploading on the computer, and in general I feel like I'm in a far better place than I was last week at this time. For one thing, I am at my word count, at least in this pre-video section. And also I have my internet, which was something I did not have this point last week. So glad that's taken care of. Missy and I are starting in the same place that we were last week, but we're both a lot less frenzied, it seems. We're just chilling out here. So I thought I'd share this moment to briefly go through my donation goodies, because every year I donate to NaNoWriMo and they send me a few little goodies, and I thought I'd share them. Man, they sent me a lot more than usual. This is kind of exciting. We have this NaNoWriMo bracelet with writing together on it. I don't usually wear these types of bracelets, but I do love the pride. This is even more exciting to me. It's a little enamel pin from NaNoWriMo. I could go put that up on my corkboard. And then these are the two goodies I'm used to getting with my donation. Here's the new NaNoWriMo sticker. You could see if you watched my last video, I have space on my computer for this. And finally, we have this year's bookmark. You know, all of this stuff has this year's theme on it with the graphics. So we have the writers and the books and all of the color. And the back is a little different than usual. Usually they have a really long thank you note on the back. But this year, the note is a lot smaller. It says, "Thank you so much, writer. Your creative work is intertwined with our community's imagination, and we're so grateful to be connected with you. Track the creative goals that feel good to you below, whether it's a word count goal or just feeding my inspiration." So yeah, that's what this table is all about. If you want to track your goals in tiny little script, I suppose, but I'm really happy to have the bookmark. And with that, I guess I should wrap up here because I actually have a little bit of a busy weekend ahead of me. I am heading to Baltimore today to see my niece for a belated birthday, her birthday. I was supposed to do it last weekend, but my nephew had a bug, which thankfully he's over now. So I'm going very briefly just today because tomorrow afternoon I have an event at the JCC, which feeds into my nano-rebelliousness. It's a screening that I hope to cover for my Jewish DC blog. So I'm excited to go look into that. But before that happens, I really do want to devote what time I can in writing this weekend to my fantasy project. I talked a lot in the last video about feeling like I was getting behind on that and, you know, giving into fear too much. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to put in the words in the near future once I head on over to Baltimore. The trip back to Baltimore turned out to be a bigger pain in the butt than I was anticipating, mostly because of metro delays, alas. But I am here now, and the delays did give me the chance to finish this book, The Imperfects by Amy Myerson, which I am reading ostensibly for my Jewish book club, which is meeting later this week. I like this book a lot. It was somewhat your standard Jewish drama with Holocaust overtones, but a fair bit different too. It was definitely plottier than my usual fare, which I imagine will make the book club discussion more fun because, you know, a lot of people get tired of the interior angst without any, you know, exterior plotting. And this one had something pretty fun and significant. It had a family that ended up inheriting the Florentine diamond, which is apparently a real diamond that is missing from the Habsburg family of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which ended around World War I. And so this story sort of makes a history about what happened to it under the guise of basically the public finding out where the diamond is, and various parties, including the Austrian and Italian governments, contesting this family, this fictional family for it. The Italian family is because the diamond was first created for the Medicis. So, you know, Europe being Europe. But anyway, we're following these 3 grandkids and 1 child of this Holocaust survivor, Helen, who, you know, bequeathed the diamond to them, or to 1 granddaughter in particular. And they all have their own, you know, dramas going on. And so, you know, half of the story is about, you know, finding out what it is to, understand how diamonds work in terms of assessing their value, and then, you know, if ownership is contested, you know, how the lawyering and legalese works. But other parts were that all the family members had their own, you know, personal drama going on, and a lot of bad blood between them, and this whole ordeal basically brought them closer together. I think it was a little much, you know, there were too many details, too many plot threads going on, but it was still overall very engaging and touching, and I think it will make a nice discussion, although in general I tend to not go to my book club discussions in person during Nano. I tend to freak out about word count and talk myself out of going, so we'll see what comes of this.
Hey Rebecca, how's it going? I think it's going fantastic, actually. You know, I actually haven't seriously attempted NaNoWriMo in many years, partially because I started selling books and publishing books. And then I was like, this year, you know, I wasn't feeling great about writing. So I thought to myself, well, maybe this is my chance to sort of get back into a little bit. And I logged on to the NaNoWriMo forum, and I shocked myself because when I looked back at the last Nano that I won, it was the book that became my debut novel. Ooh. Oh wait. No, it's not. It's actually, no, it's this book. It was this book. Yeah, it was 2014. It was Nano 2014. I drafted 50,000 words of this book, and I forgot that was how that happened. And then I signed with an agent for it. It went on submission. It didn't sell. And then I put it away for a long time. That's why I sort of forgot about that. Anyway, but that was very cool to see that once upon a time, you know, that was a Nano thing. And then I was like, well, I'll just try to, you know, write something this month. And I have not been tracking word count. I have no idea where I am. I will at some point probably move off of the notebook into a computer, and then I'll know where I am. But my win this year is just writing every day and being really excited about writing again, which I have not been for a while. So that's what's up with me. I think it's going great.
That's awesome.
Well, the weekend didn't go quite as I hoped, at least in terms of writing. But that's okay, right? We still have half a month left. More or less exactly, because today marks the midpoint of November. You know, where does the time go, right, Missy? It just flies by, especially when you're on deadline. Does seem like a great day to really hunker down and get some major work done, but unfortunately I have to go to my job work today. And afterwards, though, I will be heading to the writer's salon. It'll be an interesting day at the salon. We are on a quarterly schedule, the group I'm in, which is a group dedicated to finishing a project. And so we're also halfway through our quarter, more or less. And today a bunch of people will be meeting to do feedback on each other's work. I did not submit anything to this feedback session. I don't have anything I really want to get feedback on. Definitely don't want to be even more in that headspace than I already am as I eke slowly through things because of, oh gosh, the writing. I need to focus on getting the words out. So luckily, there is the option, I think. Some of us will be meeting to talk over feedback, but other people can find space in a separate part of the salon to do some writing during that time. So that's what I will be attempting today, and hoping that I can really churn some good stuff out, or at least any stuff out, anything, just the words.
And I will jump us right into our discussion topic, which will lead us into our next sprint, and that is, well, the question of the day. How do you add tension to a scene? So what are your kind of quick fixes or like little writing hacks that you use to up tension when you're writing?
I can go.
I put you on the spot.
Back to like the secrets thing, I think keeping secrets definitely ups tension. I also think like spending more time describing kind of the little things, like being very specific, can create some like tone that makes some tension. I don't know. Do we do things like specifically? I feel like that's most of it. Just like hold things back.
Yeah, I like to escalate.
No.
Well, I feel like you have to escalate, but also hold back. So it's like, so you're creating like butting heads and conflict, or you can do that with your distinctive personalities or just with voice. But I like having those onion layers to continue peeling throughout. But I also like to like punch when you can. So it's like have another punch after your first punch ready.
Yeah, I think of the tension as like stretching out the rubber band versus then you snap it. Like Jaws is much scarier when you're not seeing the shark. Like to me, that's what the tension is the unknown.
Yeah, I think there's something, I can't remember and I'm going to butcher it, but like with Hitchcock saying like, I'm not going to remember this at all, but it's basically like knowing someone has a bomb in their bag in a scene versus like, I cannot remember what this is exactly, but it's like
There's a bomb in a bag.
There's a bomb in a bag, and like the audience knowing it's there versus not. Okay, I'm just butchering this, but basically,
You're fine.
yeah. Okay, cool.
Anticipation.
Yeah, there you go.
Thea Goulis in the chat mentions one that I was going to say that I love, which is the miscommunication, which is classic, where two characters are talking but not understanding one another. A misunderstanding is great because then you get like hurt feelings or upset feelings. I also love having a character, no, this isn't based on my anxiety, what are you talking about? Who makes assumptions about what other people are thinking about them and whatnot. You can use, that's another form of misdirection essentially. And I do want to apologize, I'm so not used to not being in StreamYard. I don't know how to share your comments on the screen, so I'll just read them out with you guys. Put things in the chat. And God, some of you guys have some great secrets too.
So I just finished The Girl in the Road by Monica Brine, which has been on my Goodreads TBR probably since it came out in 2014, 2015, around that time. It's a really interesting science fiction novel taking place in 40, 50-ish years in Mumbai in India and in Ethiopia, really traveling that landscape. We're following two narrators, two young women who are on the road, as it were. One is moving from West Africa to Ethiopia, and one is moving from India to Ethiopia. The one from India to Ethiopia is traveling on this energy field, or this device that, saps up energy from the Arabian Sea, which is really quite fascinating and scientific, the way that Brine discusses how this works and how people illegally survive it. This is an era when India is basically a world power, a colonizing power, and they are colonizing Africa And you know, colonizing Ethiopia has a sad ring to it because Ethiopia famously hasn't been colonized. So the backdrop of this is about oppression and how India is trying to sort of build energy resources on these controversial systems where the people in Africa who are being colonized are not happy with Indian culture and in the Indians who are there. It's just fascinating because all of the cultural references are so Indian and Asian. And, you know, as a Western reader, it's just that reminder of all of these cultural references that I don't have a lot of personal experience with. And Brine certainly does not lead us by the hand with those. It can be difficult to get into sometimes. A lot of the story also has to do with trauma, particularly trauma about violence perpetrated against women. And as the story goes on, we see how traumatic events link these two specific narrators together. I think it relied a little too much on shock value for me. There's a little too much of that puzzle box aspect of the point of the story being is to kind of leave the reader in the dark until the right moment. Certainly the climax was a bit melodramatic in that way. Although I also do like the idea of unreliable narrators and a lot of the metaphorical concepts, I think, of trauma and how it manifests and, you know, moves from person to person or situation to situation is interesting on a metaphorical level, which is an interesting clash, too, with the scientific stuff of this novel, too. Yeah, I guess I'll be sitting with this a little before I write my review.
Yes, more writing. I need to reach my goal. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna do 25 minutes. Whoa, is that too long? Okay, are you guys okay with going like past the hour? I hope it's okay with you guys. We'll do, maybe the last one we'll do 15 minutes instead of 20. Okay, let's do 25 minutes. Is 25 too long? 25 or 20? Okay, good for 25. Okay, let's do 25. And I will update the timer in the chat. Oh, the prompt. Oh my god, the prompt. Okay, this prompt, we're gonna focus on world. So the media for this prompt is Spirited Away. If you guys haven't seen that Miyazaki film, it is so good. Spirited Away takes place in a world full of different kinds of spirits. So how can you incorporate spirits into your story? And if you're writing contemporary, are your characters spiritual? Do they connect with something from the outside world, outside of the physical realm? So think about, I guess, your world and how you can incorporate more magic if you're writing something speculative. And if you're not writing anything speculative, how can we incorporate spirituality into your characters or into your plot as well? So I'm going to put that in the chat, and let's get started with 25 minutes. I'll talk to you guys soon.
So I feel like I'm in a pretty similar place at the end of this week as I was at the end of last week, in that I've predominantly been doing Rebel work, which I am starting to run out of now, and not so much at all with the fantasy project, despite what I've been saying in several clips. I'm trying to understand why, especially as one of the downsides, one of the differences from last week is I'm a little bit more behind. So I do have a deficit that I need to make up, particularly with the fantasy project. One thing I've been doing a lot of, as you might have seen in earlier clips, is taking part in the NaNoWriMo write-ins that have been posted to the official YouTube channel. This year, NaNoWriMo has been giving that task a lot to various author-tubers to lead the charge. Much more famous author-tubers than I am, of course, but what can you do? In truth, I don't actually do very well writing to these sort of events. Well, first of all, most of the timed write-in sessions are really short, and I just spend a lot of my time feeling constricted, and I often get off track with that. So I do enjoy the talking points that I videotaped and the camaraderie of Nano, but in terms of a writing exercise, it's not that great. But no big deal then, I can just write without these sort of events. So that's what I will be attempting to do. Another thing I think I'm going to do, starting right here, right now, is implementing a positivity rule. Because a major thing I think that's stopping me with the fantasy project is I'm giving myself a lot of crap. I mean, it's, you know, the age-old nano problem. Everybody talks about it, and I'm just still doing it, sitting here saying, this is awful writing, and I'm feeling like restricted by it. So my way now, starting right now, of trying to move past that so that I can write the words, is giving myself positive feedback about what I've written. So I'm going to start right now, because a major thing I did do this week is that I had a breakthrough actually at work the other day after I had sort of signed off on chapter 26 after slogging through it for weeks of writing really just bad exposition. And finally I felt like it came to some sort of ending where I could just, you know, tell myself, okay, we need to move on to the next chapter. And of course it's then that my brain in rest or whatever has an idea of something more dynamic I can do. Like I was listening to the Dune soundtrack, and I had a dynamic idea about how I could structure the chapter to be more interesting. And I remember how exciting that was, and then how difficult it actually felt to write it, because I think I was giving myself crap, like, oh God, you know, this isn't perfect. And of course it shouldn't be perfect. But here's the positive about it. The positive is that it was a lot more dynamic. It was a lot easier to write things. Like I was writing specific action scenes and interaction scenes between characters, and like details that felt much more dynamic than, you know, rambling exposition. So I think that it was a success, and I'm excited to continue to write scenes that I know, you know, despite not being Pulitzer Prize worthy in their first draft, have the promise of being dynamic scenes. So that's my positive point. I'm going to stop rambling here and get back to work.